afternoon. A very warm welcome to this special. I'm Neha Bhardwaj-Alter, and with me I have Shubhayan here, and we are twinning today. This wasn't planned. This was just both of us just decided we have the same vibe today, right?
Yeah. In memory of Punjab Kings.
In memory of Punjab Kings, yes. This is what we are discussing today. 64 matches have been played in the IPL season so far. There have been teams that have punched above their weight. There's just one team that has qualified for the playoffs, and Gujarat Titans. But what about some of the other teams in contention? 6 teams theoretically can still qualify for the playoffs, but there's one team that seems to have disappointed its fans, given how good it looked on paper, how right after the auction you said this is a very good team, they've got all their bases covered, and yet Punjab Kings have won only 7 of their 13 matches that they've played so far. And that's why it begs the question, what seems to have gone wrong with Punjab Kings, given that they've had such a good team this season? Shubhayan, nothing seems to have worked for them. At times, of course, we've got Liam Livingstone, who's played well for them, Jitesh Sharma as well, Arshdeep's been good, but we've not seen this team as good as the team looks on paper. We haven't seen them perform as well on the field.
Absolutely. Punjab Kings were the pre-tournament favourites. Not only us, but many big former players did say that Punjab Kings, the kind of squad they assembled, was a title-winning squad. But the permutation combination, the team combination, starting from Mayank Agarwal's opening form, which we will discuss as well, and then they didn't click in unison, they didn't click together, and that's where it hurt the most, because the kind of firepower they had, I still don't think any team in this tournament, even Gujarat Titans for that matter, who have already qualified, they don't have the firepower, the kind of star talent that Punjab Kings have. But unfortunately, sport is a funny thing.
Yeah, in fact, Punjab Kings have just been corrected, have actually lost 7 of their games. They've just won 6 of their games. Okay, now what seems to have gone wrong? What have been the problems with Punjab Kings, the whole team? One being that they never really got down, especially in the first half of the tournament, to their best playing 11. That was one problem. Let's begin with the inconsistency that we've seen with Punjab Kings, and that there was some chopping and changing that wasn't required first up. Now, of course, we have the benefit of the hindsight, which Anil Kumble and the team management have also got. But look at that. Punjab Kings have not won 2 consecutive matches in the tournament. And one of the big talking points that has come out of their performance has been dropping Rajapaksa when he gave them very good starts in the beginning of the tournament. But they didn't stick with him. In a way, it's fine when you look at it. Johnny Bairstow, somebody with the reputation of Johnny Bairstow, comes in. But now it seems like a wrong decision for them.
Absolutely, and as you said, we have the advantage of hindsight, and any team for that matter, would have preferred Johnny Bairstow for that kind of reputation, average of 45, strike rate of 150. No team would have, picked Bhanuka Rajapaksha in place of Johnny Bairstow, but that is where things started to go wrong for Punjab Kings. The kind of momentum Rajapaksha was giving at number 3, Johnny Bairstow did fail initially, and that is where Punjab Kings lost a couple of matches in a row, and lost the momentum they had gained in the initial 3 matches, if they had picked, and we had discussed, even Nikhil had said, if you are picking Johnny Bairstow, his best position was in the opening slot, and Mayank straight away should have batted at number 3 or number 4 or even lower down the order. But the move came a bit later. It was too late for Punjab Kings, in my opinion, when Johnny Bairstow started to open.
The other also being the inclusion of Rishi Dhawan, and the difference that he's made with the ball, not with the bat as much, but with the ball, the difference, that 5th bowler's quota, he's been bowling well for them. That's another problem that you felt in the team. The other thing is 4 different new ball pairs in the first 4 matches.
True, and I wouldn't blame Punjab Kings for Rishi Dhawan's late inclusion, because he was not fit. He had a facial fracture during the Ranji Trophy, which forced him to sort of miss the first 4 games. But yes, when you have Kagiso Rabada, Arshdeep, or even Rahul Chahar for that matter, you have to pick your power play bowlers within them. These 3 bowlers, you just can't. Rishi Dhawan came in late. He bowled well with the new ball, but again, when you have the firepower of Rabada and Arshdeep for that matter, who can bring the ball in with the new ball, you should have trusted him. And you know, too many experimentation in search of the best combination. I think Punjab Kings started to lose their track, and you know, when they found their best playing 11, it was after 10 matches, after 11 matches, which was at the fag end of the tournament, where they had lost 6 matches, 5 matches in the league stage itself.
That's right. The other thing being Punjab do have a problem of plenty when it comes to their openers. Too many openers, not as many middle order batsmen, and then Mayank Agarwal comes down. The form of Mayank Agarwal, that is the next big point, the big talking point in this show when it comes to Punjab Kings' performance has been Mayank Agarwal and the leadership role of Mayank Agarwal as well as Anil Kumble. Now, Mayank Agarwal, we've seen this in this IPL. Some of the younger players who've been given captaincy haven't been able to handle it. And Mayank Agarwal, case in point. For that matter, even Rishabh Pant, despite the fact that Delhi have actually now started doing well, they have a good chance of making it to the playoffs. But there have been times when you felt like captaincy is weighing them down. You know, their batting is not really blossoming with them as captains. But look at him as a batsman. He's been a disappointment.
Very, very big disappointment. I think Mayank Agarwal has to be in that top 5 flops of IPL 2022. A big reputation player, a sensational white ball player. He's in that T20 setup as well, because you know, when other openers, when KL Rahul got injured, it was Mayank Agarwal. The selectors didn't go to Prithvi Shaw. They brought in Mayank Agarwal. So you know, that kind of summed up his reputation as a white ball player. And Punjab Kings gave a big responsibility to Mayank Agarwal to lead this side, a power pack unit, despite having a proven captain like Shikhar Dhawan in that arena, who is also favourite to lead the Indian team come the South Africa series. So you know, maybe Anil Kumble or the team management in hindsight must be regretting this decision. Although I don't question their intent, the kind of aggressive game they adopted during the league stage. Somewhat it misfired. That's why we are blaming Punjab Kings. But the kind of
but I mean, there has to be method to the
yes,
madness.
absolutely.
Why I'm saying this is, if you are 53 for 1 at one point and you are then 80 odd and you've lost 7 wickets. Then that question needs to be asked, and that seems to have happened in all the games that they have lost. Where would you, if you either you want to go score 200 or you want to get out at 120, 130, why wouldn't you then go in for a middle point when you know that you can't get to 200? Then let's be satisfied with 160, 170. We've got the bowling. We'd want to give a chance for a win there. That has been my problem when it comes to Punjab Kings.
So they went completely complete attacking, and I think if this Mayank Agarwal, Anil Kumble, or even if Mayank Agarwal is not retained as a captain for the next season and Anil Kumble stays, I think we'll see a kind of method to this madness, and they won't go just all out and attack every ball from word go. Maybe they need someone like Mayank to come back to form next season and play that anchor in that middle order, and keep that batting order glued, because you have the firepower. Livingstone, Bhanuka Rajapaksha, or even for that matter in the lower middle order, Rishi Dhawan or Harpreet Brar, they all are attacking play. You just need someone to glue that attacking zones for better results.
But this openers problem of plenty, I remember this being something that we spoke about right after the auctions, where we said that this is a good team, but they've got 4 openers. They've got Mayank Agarwal, Bhanuka Rajapaksha, Johnny Best or Shikhar Dhawan. What are they going to do? Where are they going to fit all these players? And sure enough, Mayank Agarwal then drops himself down. Thankfully, that works for Johnny Best, but Mayank Agarwal still is not able to find runs for his team, and that's where the problem has been. Okay, then we talk about the 2 big name players that they relied on, who didn't do well in the first half, especially with Johnny Bairstow. Of course, since then, we've seen him score at an absolutely amazing strike rate. In fact, one of the top strike rates in the tournament in the way he's been batting in the last couple of matches. But in the first 7 innings, he failed in 6 of those. And that's when you felt, have they stuck with him for too long? But again, hindsight, because if we had made him sit out and Bhanuka Rajapaksha wouldn't have got the runs, that we would have said,
true,
maybe he should have been given more opportunity. But yes, as things stand at the moment, you do look at it and say, maybe Rajapaksa should have been in then.
Absolutely, he batted at number 3, number 5, number 6. At number 5, number 6, I don't think in T20 cricket there's any role for Johnny Bairstow. If you have a player of a caliber like Johnny Bairstow, he has to be in that number top 3.
Yeah.
Max to max number 3, not below that. And I think that's where Punjab Kings missed a trick by demoting Johnny Bairstow to number 5. That was a ridiculous move, very very poor move. And by the time they got both Bairstow and Bhanuka Rajapaksa involved in the playing 11, they had lost that momentum. And in a league like this, IPL 10-team tournament, teams like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Lucknow flying, it is very hard to regain that momentum and start building a win streak from the scratch. And I find it very funny because they had all the firepower, and the likes of Shikhar Dhawan has batted at number 3. Mayank Agarwal himself at Punjab Kings has batted at number 3, and I don't know why they took this move so late to promote Bairstow to number 3.
I guess because Bairstow came in late.
Yeah,
so that was the decision that was taken late. Okay, but the other player, the big name player who failed, who they relied on in the first half was Dean Smith. Lot was expected out of him, this big player from the West Indies, and you said, you know what, he is going to be your finisher. He can bat really well, he can bat big, he can bowl. But he was one of the most expensive bowlers in economy. Yes, 11.86 in the tournament. Overall, 51 runs, strike rate of 106 in 6 innings. He started well in the match against RCB. But again, another big disappointment for his team. And by the time they realized they need to put him out, it was a little too late.
Absolutely. And you remember that Gujarat Titans match where Rahul Tewatia finished the match against Dean Smith. He had given that crucial overthrow which became the game changer during the last over. So yes, it was his first experience. I think he has a good future. He's a good batsman, like a proper finishing all-rounder. But to come into his first IPL and make a straight away impact, I think in that finisher role, which is very high risk, high reward position, it was a bit too much for Dean Smith.
Sometimes it's good to go for value for money. Those things work just as well in Jitesh Sharma, who once again played beautifully yesterday.
Almost won them the match.
Almost won them the match. Base price of 20 lakhs only. That is the best buy for Punjab Kings. Okay, then what seems to have gone wrong with their bowling? Punjab Kings in the middle overs were not only being able to get too many wickets, they were also not being able to control the runs. That's where things went wrong for them. 31 wickets in middle overs, second lowest in the tournament. And I think if you look at their economy rate, also most expensive, 8.8 in middle overs. I don't know how much of this can be blamed on Rahul Chahar.
No, I don't think Rahul Chahar did his part, and maybe he was lacking a partner, a formidable partner, which we are seeing in Rajasthan Royals when Yuzvendra Chahal is there, Ravichandran Ashwin comes from the other end and just continues to choke the team, or even for that matter Delhi Capitals, Kuldeep Yadav is bowling from the other end and Akshar Patel is there to restrict the runs from the other end. So in every team there are two proper spinners, even not a second proper spinner, at least a bowler who can give you a couple of overs and come and support the first primary spinner, and that is where Punjab Kings lacked. And they they started Harpreet Brar in one of the earlier matches as well, but then he was very expensive. Shah Rukh Khan didn't bowl at all. Yes, big disappointment. We'll talk about Shah Rukh Khan as well. Shah Rukh Khan didn't bowl. He's an all-rounder. Rishi Dhawan came in pretty late, so that support for Rahul Chahar was missing throughout the tournament, because Kakisor Rabada in the first half of IPL he was not getting that many wickets. Arshdeep, yes,
nor was Rahul Chahar.
Nor was Rahul Chahar. Yes, 1 and 2
we
wickets.
were talking about it. We discussed this, in fact, where we were saying that now opponents are playing Rahul Chahar out because they know that there is nobody at the other end to apply pressure.
Absolutely, and that is where the pressure started to build on Rahul Chahar, because he was there to restrict the runs and take the wickets as well. So I think it was too much of a responsibility for a single spinner.
Okay, so there you have it. Overall 75 wickets in the tournament. That's the second lowest. Like we said, economy very high. Weren't being able to get as many wickets as they would have wanted in the middle overs, but that was not it. When it came to their batting, their batsmen, despite the kind of start that they got in the power plays from their openers, they weren't able to accelerate in the death overs. That's another problem that's troubled Punjab Kings. Now, key batsmen have below par strike rate in the tournament. That's, just look at that, a run rate of 9.97, which is the second lowest. And it's a little ironic given that they have someone like Liam Livingstone, who at times has finished games for them, and yet nobody else seems to have supported him in that finishing role. And I also feel ironic about this, about the death overs being this slow, given that they have an aggressive approach to bat with in the tournament. And so you wonder if at all, if they cannot break any records, one should be broken where they should have the highest strike rate of the tournament, because they've been told to go hammer and tongs from the word go, but they don't even have that.
I think that is the main reason. The approach of going hammer and tongs from the word go is the main reason behind this low strike rate, because by the time death overs came, they had lost all their wickets. And I think, see, Bhanuka Rajapaksa generally bats for Sri Lanka at number 5, number 6. He is their finisher. Liam Livingstone for England bats at number 5, number 6. He is their finisher. And even for that matter, Shah Rukh Khan in Tamil Nadu, although he didn't click, we'll talk about him as well. He bats at number 6, number 7, finishing the game.
Correct.
And when you came into the IPL, all these batters were batting at number 3, 4. So you didn't have, technically, Punjab Kings didn't have a finisher. They banked on Odean Smith and Shah Rukh Khan to finish the matches, but by the time all their crucial matches came, they were warming the bench, and you can't expect Rishi Dhawan and Harpreet Brar to finish matches for you every match.
To be fair to Punjab Kings, though, they did try Shah Rukh Khan.
They did,
and he wasn't doing anything there.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that has been another huge disappointment, which again surprises me. And I know Shah Rukh Khan and what he brings to the table in domestic cricket, what he's achieved. But the moment you had Shah Rukh Khan last season, you actually made him sit out of a lot of games. You didn't let him play. Then you buy him again for more money. And then you try him, and of course, if he's failed, and then you make him sit out. So somewhere that strategy didn't work for them either.
See, Shah Rukh Khan, I think the teams found out his weakness. In IPL, it's very cutthroat, and teams will start. Venkatesh Iyer is a prime example. Teams started to work out his front foot game, where his feet doesn't move much, and they started to target him, and we know the results, the kind of form Venkatesh Iyer is in. And I think the same approach, the same tactical thing worked against Shah Rukh Khan. Teams started to read him out. They know that against pace he has a strike rate of 170, 180. He's destructive as anyone against pace bowling, but against spin bowling, his economy is below 100, 90-ish. He gets out against off spin, leg spin, orthodox spinner, Chinaman. Against any kind of spin bowling, Shah Rukh Khan has a big weakness, and that is where, in the first half of the tournament, as soon as Shah Rukh Khan walked into the pitch, the opponents were forcing spinners to come into the attack, and that is where Shah Rukh Khan was unable to get his innings going. And yes, dropping him, I don't blame the Punjab Kings management.
Like I said, I think we've got the benefit of hindsight, but there you look at that. Ironic to have Shikhar Dhawan, who is your highest run scorer for Punjab Kings, striking at 122. You want all your batsmen to be aggressive the moment you go. That's Shikhar Dhawan. Then Mayank Agarwal, the captain, striking at 125. Odean Smith was striking at 115, and you gave him the role of finishing the game for you. And then there is Shah Rukh Khan. We just spoke about him. 9 crores is what Punjab Kings paid for him. He was striking at 100 before he was asked to sit out. That's where everything seems to have gone wrong for Punjab Kings, given that they came in with this philosophy of just batting aggressively, but nobody was able to do it except Liam Livingstone. But again, if you jump down the track and try to hit Kuldeep Yadav and get out, when your team is in a position that they were in against DC, then you need to be questioned about your choice of shot. So there you have it. That's the question that people need to ask Mayank Agarwal. People need to ask the team management more than Mayank Agarwal, because what we also saw with Punjab is that it was the team management sitting in the dugout who were deciding change of bowlers. Did you see that?
Yep,
I don't know if you saw that. They had different colored papers, and they were trying to tell which bowler to go with. I guess they'd been assigned different colors for different bowlers. But there you have it. The other thing being, and which was another huge problem for them, is the lack of wicket-taking Indian pacer. Arshdeep Singh, again, hats off to him for the way he's bowled in the tournament. I mean, a death overs economy rate of 7.14, that is gold dust, as we've been saying, brilliant. But he was only restrictive. He wasn't being able to get as many wickets as Punjab would have liked. Kagiso Rabada was not in the same mode that he was in when he was playing for Delhi Capitals. Maybe he had the support of Anrek Nokia. Here you were lacking that Indian pacer who could get you wickets along with Kagiso Rabada.
They had one brilliant pacer, and they made him set out for the entirety of the tournament. Ishan Porel, highest wicket taker in Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, has been bowling excellently in white ball cricket. He was the net bowler for India in the tour of Australia. I don't get it. The same happened with Ishan Porel in the last season, and they bought him again like Shah Rukh Khan.
Exactly.
And again made him warm the bench the entire season. It's ridiculous. They tried Vaibhav Arora in between. He started well, picking up 2 wickets in his first match, and then
they tried Sandeep Sharma.
They brought in Sandeep Sharma in a bit to restrict the power play run scoring, but again they were missing that wicket-taking bowler. I think Ishan Porel was that fit. Maybe they could have backed Vaibhav Arora a bit more as well, because he started bowling in the power play in the first 2 matches, but again in the last 3 matches they were forcing him in the middle order.
See, nobody can be Mahendra Singh Dhoni, as we've seen.
What
he did with Mukesh Chaudhary, given how Mukesh Chaudhary began the tournament, a lot of captains, and I say this, would have dropped him after the way he was bowling, but Mahendra Singh Dhoni stuck with that that youngster, and now he's got the highest wickets in the power plays.
Yep.
That's how good he's been. And even Mohsin Khan, you're right. But Mohsin Khan still didn't have as many bad days as Mukesh Chaudhary did in the first half of the tournament.
But I won't be surprised if Mohsin makes the squad for the South Africa series. He's in the contention.
You know, I do believe that Arshdeep should also be given a look in, given how well he's bowling in the death overs. And that's my problem with this as well, that the moment you see the wickets column, he will not be considered, but he has been very restrictive.
But for India, you have Jasprit Bumrah, Harshal Patel to pick up wickets.
I don't know whether Jasprit Bumrah will pick up wickets, because he's not been able to do so as
he won't be there for the South Africa series, that's for sure.
Okay, but yes, so that's it then. Some of the issues that we put out for you with Punjab Kings as to what seems to have gone wrong with their campaign. They still have a chance to qualify if they beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by a huge margin and RCB lose their game, DC lose their game, and everybody else below them lose their games, then
also net run rate will come into play.
Net run rate will come into play. But such has been their campaign, where you know, a lot seems to have gone wrong than right for Punjab Kings, and it's a little disappointing given how good this team was at the auction. They had formed a very good unit, but hasn't been able to give the results. That's it then. News9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to. What do you think of our programming? What do you think of this particular show? Do let us know in the comment section below. That's it from Shubhan and me. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.